We are pleased to present our performance of Valentine's Day. This script was first performed on radio in 1941. The Thin Man is a novel by Dashiell Hammett, the popular American crime writer, published in 1934. And now, Woodbury presents The Adventures of the Thin Man.
Bark, bark! Woof! Grr!
There's Asta's happy bark, the signal of another adventure of the Thin Man, brought to you each week at this time by Woodbury Face Powder and Woodbury Cold Cream, those twin aids to the loveliness of your skin.
Bark, bark! Grr!
Nikki,
Yes, dear.
do you know what Saturday the 14th is?
The day after Friday the 13th.
Nick Charles, you've got about as much romance in your soul as a clam.
On half shell.
No, steamed.
No, all right, dear. I'll bite. What plays on Saturday the 14th?
Well, maybe this little poem will refresh your memory. Because you are charming, beautiful whack, with oodles of dough, which is no drawback, because in you alone I find the best points of the following women combined: Venus de Milo and Helen of Troy, Scarlett O'Hara and Myrna of Loy, the Queen of Sheba and Madame de Barry, and Osa Johnson on a safari. But wise as you are, can you figure out this is a proposal? Darling, will you be my missus?
Oh, that's awful.
You ought to know, dear.
Uh-huh.
You wrote it.
Me?
Yes, on St. Valentine's Day not so long ago.
Darling, a worse piece of slander I never heard in... Say, come to think of it, it wasn't half bad.
Did you hear that? Asta?
Bark, bark! Woof!
Don't move, beautiful. I'll be back in a jiffy. Just a second. Yes?
You Nick Charles?
That's right.
My name is Stuart.
Yes?
I've got a little Valentine for you. It's from Bill Carroll.
Bill Carroll?
Yeah, you ought to remember him, Mrs. Charles. Your husband sent him up for murder.
What does Carol want?
Well, first of all, he don't like the big house.
Well, that's a shame. I suppose he finds it confining.
A little. So he wants you to know he's going to be moving out one of these days. And then he'll be paying you a little visit.
Does he have to?
Well, the boss is like this. He always pays his debts, and he figures he owes you two plenty. If you know what I mean.
Get out.
Take it easy, Charles.
Go on, get out.
Okay. If that's the way you feel, a happy Valentine's Day, folks.
Nick, what did he mean?
No, nothing, dear. He was just bluffing.
I don't think he was.
Now, beautiful, you know better. This isn't the first mass note we've ever received from a crook.
But Carol's no ordinary crook. You once told me he was the smartest criminal you ever knew.
And look what I got him. A one-way ticket to the chair.
But if he breaks out...
Darling, the name is Carol, not Houdini. You know it's impossible to break out of St. Penitentiary.
Yes, dear. But what worries me is, does Mr. Carroll know it?
All right, Mr. Carroll, here's your visitor. You can have 5 minutes.
Thanks.
Hello, boss. How are you?
Fine. Sit down, Stuart.
Thanks.
I trust you took care of that little matter.
If you mean did I see Nick Charles and his Frau, then the answer is yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, it was an awful waste of time if you ask me.
I wasn't aware that I asked you, Stuart.
Now, don't get me wrong, boss. I just mean Charles knew you were bluffing all along.
He did?
Yeah,
And Mrs. Charles?
well, if it's any consolation, she swallowed the whole yarn.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, the lovely Nora didn't think I was bluffing.
Well, of course, I put on a good act for her.
Stuart, you're priceless.
What do you mean?
You poor fool. Can you get it through that void you call a brain that I have no intention of donating my body to, electrical research? True. It's not a very, handsome body, Stuart. But it's the only one I have. And naturally, I've grown quite fond of it.
Then what I told Nick Charles was the truth all along.
Here comes the dawn.
But it can't be done, boss. How are you gonna bust out?
Oh, the details are quite sordid. Money, you know.
You mean you bribed one of the guards?
Well, two to be exact.
Suppose they get caught.
Impossible. Hasn't it ever occurred to you, my boy, that both of us have a similar physical appearance?
All right. So we're both built alike. So what?
Well, let's say, for the sake of the argument, suppose you were visiting me.
Like I am now?
Yes, like you are now. And at the conclusion of our little chat, the prison lights were to perhaps fail. Accidentally, of course.
Of course.
And then in the resulting confusion, the guard makes an understandable mistake. He takes you for me.
And then what happens?
Well, naturally. While the poor chap is so confused, it would be a simple trick to disarm him. Certainly, no one would think he was negligent.
It's too pat, Carol. I don't like it.
I'm afraid that doesn't alter the situation any, Stuart. Its simplicity is what appeals to me.
Well, if you're satisfied.
I am. Perfectly.
Okay, when does this break come off?
Oh, right now.
Right now? What, are you kidding?
Stuart, I wish you could see the expression on your face. It's delightful.
But why don't you give me a little time so I can round up a couple of the boys and...
That's exactly what I don't want. Too many actors often spoil the play. They get in the way of the leading man. What time is it?
10 after 7.
Then I think it's high time the curtain went up on our little drama. Stuart, yours is the privilege of reading the opening lines. I want you to rattle on the cell door and demand that the guard let you out.
I don't get it.
You'll do as you are told.
Okay. Hey, let me out of here.
A little more patience in your voice, Stuart.
Come on, let me out.
Hold your horses, mister. I'm coming.
Well, hurry up. I ain't got all day.
Oh, take it easy, buddy. Everything's said, Mr. Carroll. When Joe sees me open the cell door, he's gonna short the fuse.
Excellent.
Come on, let me out of this rat trap.
Make it look good, Carroll. I don't want to lose my job.
You can depend on us, Walter. We shall give a portrayal worthy of an Academy Award.
Okay, here goes. Now, mister, you...
Hey, what happens let's
Turn them on.
turn them on.
All right, Carroll. Here's my gun.
Ah, thank you.
You better hit me once to make it look real.
I'll do better than that, Walter.
Hey, boss. What's the idea of plugging him?
What this drama lacked, Stuart, was a touch of realism. And there's nothing that helps that as much as a corpse.
Before we begin with tonight's adventure of Thin Man, a word from Miss Janet Parker, Woodbury beauty consultant.
Yesterday, I attended a fashion showing in New York. Girls, the colors for spring are simply stunning. Limpid blues, rich tobacco browns, and brilliant cerise reds. Now, isn't it true that the right color dress can make you feel young and desirable? That's equally true for the right shade of face powder. But you say, what is the right shade of face powder for me? Just listen. Woodbury powder color controlled is flattery styled in shades to glorify each of the 5 skin types. In every box is a chart which tells you your exact skin type and your most glamorous shade. Now, with the economy, the keynote today is it's too costly to make mistakes in your choice of your powder shade. That's why it pays in savings and the lovelier look of your complexion to get Woodbury color controlled powder in your true type shade. Do try it.
Woodbury powder is only 50, introductory sizes 25 and 10. And now in the big economy, $1 box of Woodbury powder, you get matching rouge and lipstick too. Get yours tonight. And now, back to the adventures of the Thin Man.
Nikki,
Ah,
it's the front door again. One of us should answer it.
you.
No, dear. You're the master of the house. Go on.
All right. But it's time like this when you make me wonder if I was smart enough to give up bachelorhood. Coming.
Hello, Nick.
Carol.
Surprised to see me?
A little.
Nick, it isn't.
I'm afraid it is, Mrs. Charles. The bad penny, you know, always turning up. May I come in?
With that gun flanking you, it wouldn't do much good to say no, would it?
Well, they say, Nick, there's no percentage in arguing with a gun. Close the door, Stuart.
Right. The last we heard, you were in jail.
What's the expression? Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage.
How many guards did you have to kill to prove that?
Just one, but he was a mercenary fellow. Oh no, Nick, I wouldn't move any closer to that desk. I'll take your word for it that you've got a gun there.
I'd like to show it to you.
Oh, it'd be a mistake. Stuart here is an excellent shot.
Say, boss, how about stowing the gab?
He's got something there, Carol. With the heat on, the cops ought to be swarming over this place in a few minutes.
Nick, I don't think you have the faintest idea why I came here today.
I can guess.
Really?
Nick's very good at games.
Yes, he's marvelous. Well, suppose he gives us a demonstration. Say, why did I come here, Nick?
Listen, Carol, if you think I'm going to crawl...
Oh, my dear fellow, you misjudge me. I haven't the slightest intention of shooting you.
No?
No, I got a much better idea. I gave it a great deal of thought.
You needn't have bothered.
It was a pleasure, I assure you. Why, many an enjoyable night I spent thinking of the best way to repay Nick for his many kind favors.
And you decided?
To the point, eh, Nick? Well, I decided the best way to make you suffer is to separate you from your most precious possession.
You mean money?
Oh, Miss Charles, you underestimate yourself.
Nick?
Easy, beautiful. Carol, you wouldn't dare try it.
Hey, Stewie, would you get Mrs. Charles's coat?
Take your hands off her, Carol.
Put down that chair, Nick.
Nick, please. I'll be all right.
I warn you, Charles. You're making a very stupid and childish gesture. Put down that chair and stay where you are.
Nick, don't!
Look out, boss!
Oh!
Ah, ah, ah.
Take it easy, Nick. The doc ought to be here any minute.
Oh, what happened?
You stopped a slug in your shoulder.
I stopped. Guffey? Guffey! What are you doing here?
I decided to pay you a little call after headquarters got a flash that Carol busted out. I kind of figured he'd be heading this way.
Where's Nora?
Huh?
Where's Nora?
I couldn't say for sure. She was here when... Now, Nick, don't you think you ought to lay down?
Let me up.
Take it easy, pal. You got a bullet in you.
Let me up.
Now, Nick, you don't want to carry on this way. We'll find Nora. Just give us a little. Nick, don't be a fool. Give me that gun.
Get out of my way, Guffey.
You're letting yourself in for a mess of trouble.
I said, get out of my way.
For Pete's sakes, man. Have you gone crazy? You don't know what you're doing. Nick, where you going?
On a little exterminating job. I'm going out to kill a rat.
Here's Louis, Mr. Charles.
Thanks.
Will there be anything else?
No, just shut that door behind you.
I got you.
Well, Louis, long time no see. Sit down. Ow! Watch that shoulder.
I'm sorry.
Skip it.
Nick, you shouldn't have sent for me. You give the boys the wrong ideas.
Don't fool yourself, Louis. Every hood in town knows you're stoolie.
No more, Nick. I quit it.
Cut it out. I'm in no mood for comedy. Start singing for your supper.
I swear, I don't know a thing.
You're lying.
Honest, I ain't got a single idea where Carol's hiding out.
How did you know I was hunting for Carol?
You said so.
I did not. Come again?
Well, it's all over town. Everybody knows. You've been in a dozen places looking for him.
Where is he?
I give you my word, Nick. I don't... Quit it, Nick. You're choking me.
Are you going to talk? You must have a couple of ideas.
All right. Let me go. Gee, Nick. Why'd you wanna...
Come on, pigeon, spill it.
Have you tried Bonnie's place?
Well, what happens there?
You see, there's a running card game in the back. Big chip stuff. No pikers.
Go on.
Carol used to sit in the game every once in a while.
Is this on the level?
I swear it is. On my mother's life. You may even run into some of the boys there. That's where they hang out.
Heaven help you if you're lying.
Honest, I ain't, Nick. But you watch yourself. There's a tough bunch. They play for keeps.
Good. That's just the kind of game I'm looking for. Hello, boys.
Beat it, pal. You're in the wrong pew.
I don't think so. I'm looking for Bill Carroll.
Well, you won't find him here. He's in the stir.
He busted out? Or haven't you heard?
I only hear what I'm supposed to, mister. That's something you ought to learn.
Let's get on the game. Throw 'em up, Benny.
No, I wouldn't try it. This gun isn't loaded with blanks. Now I want some information, and the quicker I get it, the sooner. Go on, answer it.
Me?
Yes, and no crack if it's Carol or one of his boys.
Hello?
Hello, Bunny.
Yeah,
This is Stuart.
I'm listening.
Is there a party there looking for the boss?
That's right.
Let me talk to him.
What?
It's all right. Put him on.
Okay, I guess you know what you're doing. It's for you, chum.
Hello?
Hello, Charles.
Who is this? Stuart?
Don't ask so many questions. Go home.
No, listen, Stuart. I am not leaving until...
I said, go home. You'll find your wife there.
What?
You heard me. She left here 10 minutes ago.
Bark, bark! Grr, woof!
Nora! Nora, darling!
Nick! Nick, are you all right?
Am I all right?
I saw Carol shoot you and I didn't know. And
Oh, it was just a scratch, dear. I forgot all about it. Honest, I did. Now, darling, you mustn't cry. What'll I ask the thing?
You big lug, I thought I'd never see you again.
That was just wishful thinking, sweetheart. Here, let me look at you.
Haven't changed much.
Hardly any. Has she, Asta?
Woof, bark! Grr.
Well, maybe that's because I was only gone 3 hours.
You're kidding. It was 3 years.
No.
Well, maybe I'm thinking of how much I aged during that time.
Oh, you poor darling.
Say, how come Carol changed his mind?
Don't tell me you're sorry.
Not very, but I just can't understand why he did it.
Neither can I, dear. All I know is...
Excuse me, honey. Come in.
Hello, Nick.
Why, it's Guffey.
Yeah, it's me.
Guffey, look. Nora's back.
So I see.
What's the matter, Sergeant? You don't seem very pleased.
Oh, I'm tickled to death. When did you get here?
About a half hour ago.
What about you, Nick?
Just a few minutes before you did.
I don't get it. First Carol shoots you and kidnaps Nora, and now you're here back together again, all in a couple of hours. How do you figure it?
I don't. I just count my blessings and give thanks.
Well, it's an interesting problem. What's your guess, Nora?
I don't think there is a logical answer, Sergeant.
Well, there must be. All we have to do is find the right combination. Where did they keep you, Nora?
Some apartment on the west side.
How did you know it was on the west side?
Why,
Wait a minute, dear. Guffey, is this your idea of third degree?
Third degree? You're a little touchy night, aren't you, pal? Go on, Nora.
Well, I knew it was the west side because I could see the Hudson River.
They keep you locked in a room?
Uh-huh, for almost 2 hours, and then something funny happened.
What you call funny?
Maybe I should have said peculiar. I heard Carol and Stuart quarreling in the next room, and about a half hour later, Stuart unlocked my door. He told me that Carol had changed his mind, and that I could go home. Fantastic, isn't it?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
What do you mean, Guffey?
Well, Nora called it herself. This story ain't kosher.
What difference does it make? The important thing is that she's back.
Well, that's one way to look at it. Where were you during all this time?
Around?
Just around, huh?
That's right.
The last time I saw you, you were carrying a heater. Mind if I look at it?
What for?
Just to humor me, pal. Put it down to an old man's whim.
That's funny. I had it in my coat pocket. I know. I must have dropped it out when I hopped into the cab.
That's too bad. You're generally not that careless, Nick.
Look, Guffey, you don't have to play Dick Tracy for us. What's behind this routine?
Nick, I pleaded with you to play ball. I told you if you gave us half a chance, we'd find Nora for you. But would you listen to me? No, you couldn't wait.
Do you blame me?
No, but I do blame you for taking the law into your own hands.
Darling, what's he trying to say?
Well, don't ask me.
It's no use, Nick. We found Carol's body.
You what?
We found his body. He was murdered.
Murdered?
Yeah, Nick, I hope you cooked yourself up a decent alibi, 'cause brother, you're gonna need it. Before we find out if Nick has an alibi, Miss Janet Parker, Woodbury's beauty consultant, would like to say a few words that every woman will want to hear. Miss Parker?
When I walk down the street, I often play a little game. I look at the complexions of all the women I pass and I mentally grade them as poor, fair, or beautiful. Now, if you could see the loveliest stars of Hollywood close up, you'd grade their complexions beautiful with a capital B. Girls like Iona Messi, Rita Hayworth, Paulette Goddard, and others. Now, does it take a movie star's salary to have a gorgeous complexion? No, it doesn't, because these stars use the same beauty cream that you can buy at any toilet goods counter. I mean, Woodbury cold cream. Here's a beauty nightcap for the stars. First, a quick cleansing with Woodbury cold cream, then a light, fresh film of this luscious cream for overnight softening. 2 simple steps. That's all. You see, special oils in Woodbury cold cream help soften dry skin, help smooth tiny lines which dryness causes. And Woodbury cold cream contains an exclusive ingredient which constantly acts to purify this cream right in the jar. Regardless of the cost, there is no finer cream than Woodbury cold cream. Why not prove it to yourself tonight?
For economy, get Woodbury cold cream in the big jar at $1.25. Generous jars at $50 and $75. Introductory sizes at $10 and $25. And now, back to the adventures of the Thin Man. It is an hour later, and we find Nick and Nora with Sergeant Guffey down at the city morgue. No, Nick, that was a mistake. You should have never killed Carol.
But Guffey, Nick didn't. Just because he hasn't an alibi, it's no...
Never mind, sweetheart. Have you ever known Guffey to be wrong? If he says I killed Carol, then I did. Well, Guffey, how about trotting out your corpse now that I've confessed?
You're a very comical fellow, Nick. Okay, we'll see if I can get a laugh out of this.
Don't look too beautiful.
He ain't a very pretty sight, is he?
No. Would you mind telling me what was used on him?
Now, Nicky, who you trying to kid? You didn't forget that fast.
My memory's bad.
You used sulfuric acid.
Sulfuric acid? You mean I poisoned him with it?
No, that's how you mutilated his body.
Why do you suppose I did that?
To prevent us from identifying him and tying his murder onto you.
Well, apparently it wasn't very successful. Where did I slip? On the fingerprints?
Nah, the acid took care of that. You left a cleaner's mark in his coat. That's the way we traced him.
Kind of stupid for me to miss it.
You couldn't help it. It was in the sleeve lining. We had to tear the coat apart to find it.
As long as you're being cooperative, Guffey, riddle me this. If I didn't kill him with the acid, what did I use?
Oh, all right, wise guy. Wait till I open his shirt. There.
Oh, I shot him, huh?
Right through the heart.
Carol never had a heart.
Nick Charles, I've stood all of this I can. How long are you and Guffey going to continue this farce?
It's no farce, Nora. If Nick thinks it's funny, he's got a screwy sense of humor.
But you can't believe Nick killed him.
No? Well then who did?
Well, it could have been any one of a Stuart.
What?
Uh-huh. Stuart killed him.
Now wait a minute, beautiful.
Nick, I'm positive he did. I heard him fighting with Carol, and wouldn't that explain why he released me?
Yeah, but it wouldn't explain why he mutilated the body.
Well, that's obvious. It would give him more time to get out of town before Carol was identified. Why don't you have your men pick him up?
Where'd you think they are now? They're watching all the railroads and bus lines and airports.
What about the steamship lines?
Steamship lines? Well, if it'll make you feel better, I'll check them first thing in the morning.
That may be too late. Wouldn't it stand to reason that Stuart will sail on the first boat available?
What about that, Guffey?
Well, just so you won't squawk later that we didn't give you the brakes, I'll call the customs office right now. Now. But this is an awful waste of taxpayers' money.
Customs, Mitchell speaking.
Hello, Mitch. This is Guffey of the Homicide Bureau.
How are you, Guffey?
Fine. Say, Mitch, I wonder if you could settle a bet for me. Any boats leaving tonight for foreign ports?
Nope.
You sure of that?
Positive. No liners leave until next Saturday.
Well, thanks, Mitch. That's all I...
Hold it, Guffey. Ask him about private boats.
Some people are never satisfied. Say, Mitch, how about private boats? Nothing there either, I suppose.
No. You lose, Guffey.
What?
Yeah. We just cleared a private job sailing for Havana in the morning. She's called the Driftwood. She was chartered by Mr. Stewart.
Nick, I don't think Stuart's here. No one tried to stop us from coming aboard.
Baby, you can say that again.
Let's try the cabin.
Can't you see no one's inside? There's no light.
Guffey, sometimes your powers of deduction amaze me.
Okay, wise guy. We'll try the cabin, and then it's back to a cell for you.
Fair enough.
No tricks, pal. You first.
All right.
Now turn on the lights.
Allow me, sir.
Huh? Hey, this ain't Stuart.
You're right.
Gee, I'm sorry, mister. I didn't mean to... Holy smokes! It's Carol!
No, it can't be.
Who? While you're making up your collective minds, I'll trouble you for your gun, Sergeant. Ah, thank you.
But we saw your body.
It's delightful. In that case, you're disturbing the dead. Isn't that a penal offense, Nick?
I don't get it. If this guy's Carol, who's stiffing the morgue?
Stewart.
Stuart?
Of course.
The next thing you'll be saying, Nick, is that you knew it all along.
I did.
You're second guessing, my boy. You're as surprised as they are.
Not quite. I'll reconstruct it for you.
Please do.
Carol, you were very hot, and you knew the police would go on searching for you until they caught you, or they were satisfied you were dead.
Go on.
So you hit on the fantastic plan of murdering yourself. There was only one trouble. You had to supply the police with a corpse, but that was easily remedied. Stewart was approximately your size, and he was convenient. So you killed him.
That's marvelous.
And just as you figured, I was accused of your murder. Heaven knows I had plenty of motive after you kidnapped Nora.
Did you like that touch? It was my idea of poetic justice.
Well, unfortunately, it boomeranged. When I saw the body in the morgue, I knew it wasn't you.
Why not? All the clothes are mine.
Well, that's why it didn't add up. Guffey, remember when you showed me the wound on the corpse? You had to open his shirt.
Yeah?
Well, why wasn't there a bullet hole in the shirt? There should have been one.
Hey, that's right.
There's only one thing that could explain it. The clothes didn't belong to the corpse. If the clothes weren't Carol's, then the body wasn't.
A beautiful piece of logic, Nick.
Thanks. And that wasn't a bad plan of yours either. A pity we had to spoil it.
At this moment, I find it very easy to forgive you.
That's mighty white of you.
Not at all, my boy. After all, no harm's been done. I'm sure my little secret will be safe with you and the fishes.
What fishes?
Nick, I'm afraid your friend is a trifle on the dull side. You see, Sergeant, since you three are the only three, where's Nora?
Right behind you, Mr. Carroll.
Hey, she really conked him.
Nora, darling, how did you get there?
Oh, it was simple, dear. While you and Mr. Carroll were conducting your mutual admiration society, naturally you both had eyes for no one else. So I edged up behind him and let him have it with my little belaying pin.
Belaying pin? Where did you find that?
On deck. I picked it up as a little gift for Sergeant Guffey.
Well, what's that?
Well, in case we didn't find our murderer here, you would have insisted on dragging Nick off to jail.
I guess you're right. I wouldn't have listened to reason no matter how much she argued. But what's that got to do with this belaying pin?
Well, I figured this was the one argument that was bound to make a deep impression on you.
In just a moment, Nick Charles will return to the microphone. A quick reminder to every woman tonight. Get a jar of Woodbury cold cream. The cream that will help give you, like the loveliest stars in Hollywood, a smoother, more glamorous complexion. And for the most thrilling face powder you ever tried, ask for the new Woodbury face powder. The Adventures of the Thin Man, with Claudia Morgan as Nora and Les Damon as Nick, are brought to you each week at this time by the makers of Woodbury face powder and Woodbury cold cream, those twin aids to the loveliness of your skin. This is Hugh James speaking and reminding you to listen for Asta's merry bark.
We hope you have enjoyed our performance of The Thin Man Adventure, Valentine's Day, featuring an order of appearance, Al Bissett as the announcer and Guffey, Teddy Finlay as Asta the dog and Carol, Bobby Turner as Nora and closing credits announcer, Gully Turner as Nick, Harry Robertson as Stewart and customs officer, Amber Gilmore as Joy Parker, the woman in the cafe, and Bunny. Other parts were played by Lewis Teckham and other members of the cast. The sound editor was Sam Riberon. This has been an Out of the Woods production in conjunction with Cloth Ears.